1, 2, 3. Hello, this is Nicholas Tanek with YourKinkyFriends.com. Oh my God, I have a wonderful, fascinating guest with me tonight. She is actually a legend, and she's a balloon mistress. She shoves people in balloons, and but we're also going to talk about her dungeon, which she prefers to call it a fungeon. We're going to find out what that's all about. And of course, we're going to talk, impact play, CBT, nipple torture, chastity, Sissification. But one thing we're going to talk about the law and law for sex workers, and not only, but just being a consultant and expert witness on various cases. And we're gonna get it's gonna be good. Please welcome. It's my honor to have the magnificent Domina Elle. Say hi.
Well, hello. That was quite an introduction. I am Domina, Elle, also known as the Balloon Mistress, and I host out of my dungeon in Denver, Colorado. Good evening, everyone.
Oh, I always want to go to Colorado. There's some awesome people in Colorado, definitely. I'm very good friends with one, and I got to get out there. Hey, oh, look at this. Wicked Karma. Hooray, I've been looking forward to this interview. Hi, Wicked Karma. You're awesome. Check out her on the transgender episode with Jet Cat. It's a great episode. Okay, so before we get really into it, and we're going to get right into the balloons, but I always ask, what was it like the first time out? Like out in either in public or in front of somebody as a kinky person? Was it just with one person alone? Was it at a party? Was it at a dungeon, a munch? What?
My life, if you asked anybody that knew me when I was much younger, I've just always been out. I've always pushed against social norms and constructs, from the very beginning. And, probably because of the time when I was 12 and my parents caught me doing self-bondage in my closet, that it must have been quite a shock when, the closet door is open and I'm there, spread eagle fantasizing, and having to deal with being shamed over that and treated very badly. I just decided I was never going to compromise myself for what anybody else thought or for their fears. And at that age, I even dared people to do it. So I really don't have a singular, where I can say, oh yeah, that time I went out. But I did, start getting involved in the community. That would have been more like the early 2000s or something. Okay. But yeah, that's so. I hope that was a good answer.
Yeah, it's an excellent answer. You know what? Talking about the closets, I remember when I was young, I used to I had this old wooden closet, for the house was made of wood. So, and it had one of those extra bars to hang stuff with, and I used to hang the bar and tie myself to the bar and just hang from it.
How old were you?
Probably just going through puberty, just going through puberty. Okay, we're going to get into your fungeon. We're going to get into, your specialties as a professional dom. But one thing that's very unique, especially to this show that we haven't really talked about before, we grazed on it as a fetish, but you take it to another dimension. You take it to you are a visual artist, and you are a balloon mistress, and you're known for putting people inside large balloons and other inflatables. So, and your record thus far is a balloon climb is 13 people?
13.5.
Oh, first of all, were their legs hanging out or were the top of the body hanging out?
The ass and legs were hanging out when it popped. And I went to a birthday party, and I knew that I was going to put the birthday girl in a balloon, and the whole party ended up inside the balloon, minus a couple of people, and it was pretty awesome. But you know, by number 14, it popped. Which, you know what, the balloons pop.
Yeah,
And the one thing that I don't like about it, if there's anything I don't like about it, is that if somebody pops the balloon, they tend to feel bad, and I'm just like, please don't feel bad, because it's part of it. It's just part of the zen of it, and it's chaotic and fun, and balloons pop. That's what they do. But there was a party going on in that balloon.
Is that the picture with all the naked people
Yeah.
in the balloon? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yes, that's exactly that. And see how happy their faces are.
Yeah.
And I've done this for over a decade now. I think it's been, no, about a decade, I guess. Yeah, at 2010 or 11. And I've, you know, kind of spread it around at different fetish events, and then people pick it up and start doing it in their local regions. And I just love that. And there have been people that have totally beat my record and gotten, you know, over 20 people inside. And so, I mean, that's just really exciting. I love that when people take it and do it.
Now, when they pop, and this is a question from Miss Melissa, who's my dom. I told her what the subject of this was, and well, one of the subjects of this interview was, and she was like, she goes, do they pop, and does it hurt when they pop?
Well, you know, balloons can hurt when they pop, but as far as the big ones, I use a particular brand which is called Rifco, and they are made in Italy. And they are much more durable than, say, the American brand Qualitex. But something that I do, I've learned tricks over the years, because, you know, they are expensive. I found a place that I can buy them for about $25 a balloon. And so, of course, you don't want them to pop. You know, you want to try to make it last as long as possible. But I have little tricks that I do that make it so they're a little bit more, I don't know, is the word pliable? But you want to do things so that they, you know, I found that human sweat, the more people go in, the more they sweat. Oh, yeah. And it's real humid in the balloon, and that would change the quality of the balloon. You know, if you just first inflate one, it's much drier, and it could be poppable through the electric static that can build up. So I actually pour water in them before, and let them, or even soak them in water. And then I dump the water out, and then I will inflate it. And that really helps. But no one's ever been hurt from a big balloon. It's the smaller ones, when you do blow to pops, that can pop in your face or hit you on your body, that could be more likely to hurt you.
Okay, so Wicked Karma, as you can see in the bottom, probably.
And thank you. You said Mistress Melissa, was that right?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Just want to say thank you for the question, Mistress.
Right. Thank you for the question, Mistress. Well, she just goes by Miss, but yeah, she's basically,
okay.
She's not a professional. She's not a professional. So Wicked Karma asks, what does the material feel and sound like inside of the balloons?
Well, when you're inside, it is trippy, because there's an echo in there. You know, if you're in there by yourself, especially if it's a brand new balloon, it's just like this pinging kind of echo, and the smell is very distinct. As far as, you know, it's latex, and the Rifco brand smells very chocolatey. I've always thought so. But it's you know, for me, it's definitely part of the fetishistic aspect, is the smell of it. But you know, it's just fun.
Now, this is going to sound like a real silly question, and it is. But you know how you take a balloon sometimes, like a small balloon, and you rub it against your hair, and your hair stands up. Can you do that? You can do it with these?
Oh no, they're way too heavy for that.
Okay.
I decorated a party once by rubbing balloons on my head and just sticking them on the wall. And they stayed for a long time, but those were smaller balloons. These balloons are the kind that you used to see on above car lots. the car lots when they were, or an apartment building that was renting their new apartments out. And you would see these gigantic balloons filled with helium above, to attract attention for their sale or whatever. They don't use them quite as often anymore because the helium shortage, from what I understand, for balloon shops and so forth. But they now have other things they use. But those are what they were originally for, was advertisement.
Now,
And they're big.
One of the
They're
major
6 foot.
one of the major questions that when I told people I was doing this interview, they were like, "How do you breathe? If you're in the balloon, how do you breathe? How?" So I'm curious. How do you breathe?
Everybody always asks that. Well, one of my favorite parts is when the air rushes out as the person is going in. The first person has the easiest time because, of course, I can work, the balloon is still free, kind of free moving. Once you have the first person in, then it's on the ground, it's grounded. And, the second person goes, they roll in, but as the people go in, of course, that air is going to rush out. And it does, come in on you, but I make sure that the air goes in immediately, as long as they don't panic and freak out. And I freaked out before when I was getting in a balloon and the air it kind of sealed me in when the air went out, and I couldn't breathe for a second. But it was really mostly me being silly, because as soon as someone puts that air hose in there, which is immediately, you're going to have air. And if you blew up one of these balloons and sealed it and one person was inside it, it would be hours before they ran out of air.
Okay.
So, but it's really interesting. The more people that go in, the more people that are inside, they're all on top of each other, and they become this just blob of human. And the balloon comes down on them, and it gets just so challenging. And that's when it starts getting really interesting, and the crowd gets really excited, because the more people that are in there, it's just more of a challenge. And then they're just it's hard to describe it. But I do have some photos and if I need to send you more, that demonstrate what I'm talking about, you'll just see this balloon, that's sealing all these bodies. And but I get that air in there pretty fast, so that as long as they don't panic, we can just keep putting people in there. And it's pretty fun. It's very interesting. And it's also a social experiment, you could say, because, well, you're in a very intimate space. You're literally on top of each other. So it's an interesting form of non-sexual, well, most of the time, non-sexual intimacy. And I've gotten some very interesting comments from people who didn't really think about that when they climbed in with people they didn't know. And then afterwards, you definitely know each other a little better.
Oh yeah, definitely. So take us through the process. You have this thick latex balloon, and there's a hole in it, correct? That you crawl
The
through.
nipple. The nipple.
All right. So you put, let's say three is my favorite number. You put three people in. Okay. What do you do next? Do you seal the balloon?
Well, it depends on what's going on. Sometimes I put confetti in the balloon, and the confetti goes all around, and that can be fun. And let them play in there for a little bit. Then eventually we'll blow it up and blow it up and blow it up until it pops and the confetti goes everywhere. That's one of my favorite things. And then there's the other neon paint balloon, where I will have up to 50 smaller balloons that I have put non-toxic water-based neon paint in different shades, and I will put those in with the people. And of course, the air comes out, and you just keep putting air in. And once you get all those little balloons in there with the paint, then we blow the bigger balloon up bigger again. And then while I will hold it sealed while they are popping all the smaller balloons and painting the inside of the balloon. And I've had some really fun times with that, more in private, where myself and a couple of other really sexy ladies are inside, and you're sliding around in there, and if you're naked, and you've just got this paint, and it's messy, splashy play at the same time. And but that's really fun. That's more of a visual type scenario too, because if you want to have black lights on the outside, and then it's just this neon paint, performance. And then there's just other fun things you can do. I fantasized about doing a million things with that, like putting in thousands of those little puffy, fluffy craft balls and having those. But I've just had many fantasies I've never realized yet. But there's just all sorts of things you can do. But most of the time at events, I'm putting people in, getting as many people as I can. And one of the interesting things about that is that I don't have anything set. Like, I'll go to an event and I might have one person who's done it before that I know that, will demonstrate for people so that they go, oh, okay. But ultimately it's usually very spontaneous, where, I'm just asking people, strangers that I don't know, will you get in the balloon? And so it's just really interesting. People will just start lining up and getting in there. And it's really a fun thing to do at more, I hate this word, vanilla events, where, you're introducing something fetishistic and something outside of the normal frame of reference for a lot of people. And it allows them to experience something, and also to be the center of attention. I love doing that. I love making other people the center of attention so that they can experience something and be, the center of attention.
Definitely. Okay. So and, that's another thing I wanted to ask you. Before we get to that, what kind of machine do you use to blow it up? Is it a specialized machine just for that, or is it?
No, I used to have, in the beginning, as we were learning, and I have to give a lot of props to my longtime friend and submissive, Rolanda Sumac, who brought me the first, shot back, but then realized it was taking so long to get the balloon filled back up that she got me a leaf blower. And that leaf blower works really good and really fast. And it has a small, it's not a long leaf blower. It only has about a foot long attachment that, you put into the nipple to blow the air in there. And it's just quick. So I highly suggest, and it's the kind that attaches to the top of a larger shop vac that you can take off of that shop vac and then just use it to blow. But that was amazing, and that's what we used, just your standard shop vac leaf blower.
Now, what do you think would happen if this is going to get really silly? But what do you think happened instead of just regular air? You did it with helium.
Oh, someone would die. They would die. Helium is very dangerous. You can die just breathing the little balloons just to talk funny. So I would never suggest anybody to even do the talking funny thing, because it can kill you, depending on the mixture of helium that you are breathing into your lungs. And I've been asked that question before. It's logical that somebody would think that. But I've thought about laughing gas, but that might be fun. But it's still, again, it probably would be too much. You need some oxygen.
Yeah, nitrous. When I was
nitrous. I was thinking nitrous.
When I was young, I did nitrous, and I thought I was going to die. I laughed my ass off, but I thought I was going to die.
Because we like our brain cells. Brain cells are very good. We need them. So
because of this balloon performance art or fetish or anything like that, you were in Cosmopolitan magazine. You were also on
online, the online.
Yeah, still counts. There's print media is dead. I sell more books. I sell more books on Kindle than I do in print media. So so Cosmo is still an important thing. And then there was not National Geographic,
Mhm.
right?
They did their Taboo series, yes.
Their Taboo series. How did you get involved with either of those?
Well, I guess they just, found out about me and contacted me and asked me if I would participate. And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Especially if, I wanted it to be presented in a positive light, and it was an opportunity to do that. And, which it's since then, it's really, lots of has changed. I think not just in terms of lunars, but all fetishes and the whole BDSM fetishism realm. It's just kind of, well, let's just say it's going mainstream, right?
Yeah, I guess. So
More and
one thing,
more.
did you now one thing you're into, and I want to, this goes to the balloon thing. One thing that you are into, I don't know if you're personally into it or you just do it on a professional level, but what would make for the balloons a good splashing?
Well, I'm definitely into, I really don't do anything just for professional
Okay,
reasons,
good.
because I really want to be, genuine with the people that I interact with, and for the energy and what we do to be real, So I pretty much just do what I enjoy. And but you mean mixing splashing with balloons?
Yeah, I would think if you put it like if you're not done filling up the balloon and you put some food in there and then you
Oh,
put
that
the
would be a great way
yeah.
to do that, actually, and not have a huge mess to clean up, as long as you don't pop the balloon. But if they get wet inside, they tend to be much more durable. So
Interesting.
if, as long as you don't pop it before you get it wet, then you can probably do some pretty wild stuff in there.
What kind of food would you use? What kind
Whipped
of food would you
cream pies would be fun, maybe like a little pie contest, or
like?
syrup or oil. I've actually thought about doing that, is having some oil wrestling going on inside of a balloon. Just, I have jujitsu mats in my studio, so I can put those down on the floor. And then, that's what I would do, is I would inflate the balloon on top of that, and then pour whatever in there. Pudding would be fun too. And I've done pudding wrestling, not in a balloon, but I think that would be pretty fun.
Well, one thing about you is that you're definitely fun. I've talked to you many times over the phone, and yeah, you're a fun person, especially with this whole, who doesn't love balloons? So you
That's why my
started.
dungeon is a fungeon.
I
We've
know
got all kinds of fun things here. Fun.
that's the next question, and that's one thing I love about, like, some people think uh, Wicked Karma says Jello.
Oh yeah, Jello. We've done that here in the studio. We had a Jello wrestling before, and it would have been better in a balloon, because boy, did it go everywhere. But yeah, that would be good too.
So okay, the one thing I love about you is that, and I feel I have the same kind of ideology about kink, is that it doesn't always have to be dark and mysterious and taboo, although that's fun and that's part of this, that's part of the appeal to it. But it can be fun, it can be really fun, and if you around fun people with a good attitude, you can do real kinky stuff, and still have a good time, like literally a good time with a bunch of laughs and everything like that. So what makes your dungeon a fungin?
Well, I think kinky play, in and of itself, of any kind, with the right people, is fun. um, you know, Something that's very important for me. I want to give my partners pleasure, fun. However that might. There's different ways of doing that. Sometimes it's, I have inflatable bondage balls that I play with a lot. I have, and those can go on swimming pools too. And I love taking over swimming pools, by the way. That's one of my personal fun fetish interests is, doing fun things with a swimming pool. But, there's different inflatable devices here, such as vac cube, vac bed, vac tower, machines. There's different machines here. I collect anything that can be used in a BDSM scenario. And of course that, is traditionally BDSM things, as well as things that can be pervertibles, items that can be turned into toys.
Oh yeah.
And kinksters are very good at doing that.
Yeah.
But, I really like taking, no disrespect to anybody who enjoys, the dark, side of things, but I guess one of my personal, I just enjoy helping people to negotiate the terrain who are not as adept as other people. And, I think that a lot of people tend to be more afraid, period, of stepping outside of their comfort zones. So when things are made more comfortable and fun, they tend to feel safer. And the safer a person is, then the more likely they're going to be able to totally surrender. And of course, I know I'm going to get better results the more they surrender. And so that's, kind of the platform, the cornerstone of my philosophy.
Great. Okay. So let's talk about the different specialties you have. First of all, people love sadism. They're fascinated with sadism. And we'll get to cock and ball torture, unless one of the most sadistic things. Basically, I'm going to ask is, what is one of the most sadistic things you've ever done? And if it deals with cock and ball torture, I was going to be a separate answer, a separate question. But if you want to mix them up, that's cool too.
Of course, it's going to be a cock and ball situation. I used to have a friend, submissive, who was known as Wild Bill, and he definitely lived up to that name. And, rest in peace, Wild Bill. He passed away. But years ago, at one of my other dungeons, I think he bugged me for about 6 months. He wanted his cock and balls to be nailed to a board. And at the time, I just wasn't really that, into that. But he bugged me and he bugged me and he bugged me until finally I was just like, where the hell is the hammer? And he had created, where's that hammer? But he had created this board that he wanted to do it in his mind. And, and I'm willing to work with people, to realize their fantasy situation. And, he had it in a way, though, where he would be laying flat and his, junk would come through the hole, and then I would nail it, spread it out, kind of like a specimen, that you see a specimen. And, in theory, it was really good. But in reality, because of the nature of the tissue of, the scrotal sac, it wasn't going to work without ripping him to shreds. So I said, hell no, we're not going to do that. We were halfway or partway through, and it just obviously was not going to work. So I shut it down, and I said, okay, now we're going to do it my way. You're going to be sitting up on a horse with your hands bound up this way, and we'll do it that way. And I hammered everything safely, of course. What?
Did you go through the testicle?
Not through the actual testicle, only through the tissue around. Yeah. I've had people request that of me, and I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I think for what it's worth, the risk for what it's worth, I personally will not do that. But I did, do the sides of the, certain parts. But, what I found disappointing about that was that it really wasn't as intense as and it healed really quickly.
Really?
I wanted him to suffer a little longer and a little more for the 6 months that he bugged me about that. And of course, there's other scenarios I've done that, I would say with needles and everything, but I don't know. I don't get a lot of requests for that stuff. And while I would, depending on the scenario, I would be happy to venture into certain, things in a safe way, but it's just not really my thing as much as other things like electroplay, mixed with bondage, and there's just other things that I like to do more. So
Okay. Now, I'm always curious about nipple torture and creative ways. The typical nipple torture, like the almost vanilla nipple torture, is biting, twisting, maybe clothespins. But do you have any creative like ways of nipple torture that that
well,
typical person wouldn't think about?
well, related to balloons, you take the ends of the butterfly clamps, or some people call them Japanese clamps, and you
Yeah,
take
I think
the little chain off of them, and so they're just singular on their own,
one of these.
and then connect a balloon string with a big enough helium balloon attached to it, so that the balloons are holding up and attached to the nipples, and that can be a lot of fun. And then your hands are free to do other things, and you can just pop the balloon once in a while to stimulate the nipple. But
That's
that's
great.
one fun way to do it.
Yeah, that's a first. That's first. And you could be kind of, what's it, mocking and be like, look, you're flying, you're floating or whatever. All right, so let's talk about chastity. Do you have anybody locked up right now?
um yes, I do.
Is it online or in person?
In person.
Ooh, okay. How long have they been locked up for?
Well, it had to be removed. Sometimes things have to be taken
Yeah,
off for personal reasons.
yeah,
I haven't
safety,
asked
timing.
recently for how long, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, a long
And
time.
what is the absolute longest that you can remember that someone's been locked up for?
Over 200 days.
Oh, ouch. Longest for me has been 2 weeks.
And to be frank, that is, if a person, I personally don't try to keep people in that long. I want people to have release. I think release is very important and really good for people. But some people don't want that. Some people, there's all sorts of motivations as to why some people would want to be locked in that chastity indefinitely or
Yeah.
forever. But I prefer for people to have release. I think that it's healthy, it's good, it's connected to well-being, and the overall well-being of a person. So yeah.
Okay, and chastity, they're not mutually exclusive, but a lot of times they go hand in hand. I'm talking chastity and sissification. Now, sissification, um, it's a complicated but very, very popular fetish. Personally, I love sissy porn, or forced femme porn, stuff like that. I love the stories and stuff like that. I own a French outfit, you know what I mean? But a lot of people who are into it aren't as open as someone like me or you. So, and they're like hiding it from everybody. So, because they feel the shame about it. So, what advice would you give to somebody who has never told anyone before and who goes to you as their client and wants to experience that? Or goes to anybody and wants to experience that?
Well, that's definitely one of my long time. I mean, that's one of my fetishes that, when I was 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, I was sissifying my boyfriends and friends, and I didn't know that's what it was. I didn't know that that's people did that even. So that to look back, that's kind of wild that I was just had this desire to put my guy friends in my underwear and clothes, and I did that a lot. And I was pushing that. I think it had a lot to do with my own interest, because I was pushing. I didn't agree with the constructs and the social norms, and the programming is the word I call it, around gender and just who we are as people. And so I've been doing that for a long, long time. But as far as people, that's an individual thing, because it's so different for each person. But it is probably definitely one of the most taboo fetishes to be able to be open about with people, especially in relationships, because I've heard so many stories from people where they tried to tell their partner and their partner was horrified, or they said, look, I don't care if you do that, but just don't tell me about it, stuff like that. And then people who were even into it, but then after they broke up, would do horrible things like out them to everyone. Yeah. So
I interviewed someone like that. Yeah.
It's just, and that just makes me so angry and sad. But just, to be careful, number one, to always know, because you just have to think of that stuff, unfortunately. But just to advocate for yourself, be safe, but to be true to yourself. And, I think that a lot of people feel they have or I should say some people have an inner conflict with it. And I was just talking to someone the other day about that, and kept it, secret forever for the last 20 years or something, has never shared it with someone else, and was finally had the guts just to call me, and which I'm very honored by that. And, I feel bad about that people have to hide and not be just truly true to who they are. And that, because that is dehumanizing, when we are made to hide parts of ourselves that are crucial parts of who we are. And, but we are not in the world yet to where we can be, totally out of the closet. But
and now sissification or just feminization, it goes on so many different levels. For example, if my dom puts me in a dress or lingerie or whatever, I just get submissive. I don't get feminine or anything like that. I'm just submissive. I look at the ground and I worship her. You know what I mean? I'm just straight submissive. While some, when men who get feminized, they become very feminine. You know what I mean? And then in the dom, aspect, sometimes they're teasing, and the humiliation's a factor, while sometimes it's more of a celebration. And sometimes it's almost a sadistic thing where, like, I'm forcing you to do this, whether it's forced or really forced or not, which most of the time it's consensual. Where does most of the sissification experiences that you have, where do they lean to on either side of the spectrum?
Well, because of the way I promote myself, and I do it I consciously do it the way I do, to attract, as a professional, BDSM professional, as a dominatrix, we actually have a lot of power regarding, well, as any erotic laborer, how you promote yourself will, factor in greatly to the people that call you. And I definitely want to connect with people who are on a journey of self-exploration and self-actualization, and perhaps even a spiritual journey with, who they are regarding all of this stuff. So, the people that I tend to interact with are, there isn't degradation. There is not, it's definitely not a punishment, and not forced. And I do a part of my vetting process, or just learning about people. I spend quite a bit of time communicating with people before a meeting. And part of the process is having them send me in their own words, a detailed list of their limits, their interests and their maybe section based on the red, yellow, green traffic light analogy.
Oh, yeah.
And so I learn a lot about them, and we communicate about that before we ever play, because I really do want to get deeply into their brain and into their emotions, and to facilitate for them something that's going to be very worthwhile to their process. So, you know, I would say there's a lot of communication about that, and it's more of a exploration of this stuff. But I have a person that's very dear to me. He played alone for 30 years before finally contacting me and playing, you know, with me. I was so honored to be the first person. And you know, that's something, I mean, I just think it's really, really a great honor when a person allows you into their personal space, gives you access to their body, their emotions, their mind, their person. And, you know, for me, my platform as a dominatrix is based in that. I really want to do something that helps them in that process.
That,
you know,
is,
if I can. So
that
I hope that kind of a sideways answer, but
no, that is an absolutely wonderful answer. And
because my phone just said you're running out of energy, but I have lots of energy.
I know I like to look at your dungeon in the background. Your fungeon.
I'll show you my boobs. I'm kidding. I like the way they look. There we go.
Do. I didn't want to like overstep my boundary and say
I'm a breast person myself, but yeah.
Oh, me too. I've actually made women come just by sucking on their boobs.
God, I wish I could do that.
Yeah. All right, so personally,
there we go.
Are you with a partner or partners right now?
Well, I have a partner currently, Mistress Victoria, and unfortunately, she is retiring. Unfortunately for me, fortunately for her. I'm happy for her and glad for her to have, different opportunities. But, she's been a dom for over 20 years. That's a long time. And she is ready to do some new things. So I'm actually looking for a new partner. But it's just me otherwise after she retires.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Now, the kink rabbit hole goes very, very deep. There's stuff I'm into now that I never thought I'd be into. Is there anything kind of new and interesting and exciting that you're either just getting into or you're curious about?
Well, I mean, I'm like, if you saw my dungeon, I mean, it's just, there's a prolific collection of things, and that's based on my, just wanting to learn and getting into things to do with people. So I really don't know if there's anything that new, but I like machines a lot. It's more like what I've been doing new is how to use what I have on people, with people, and combining things, like you have different machines and electrics and this and that all going on at the same time. But what I've really been excited by for quite some time now is just the art of you have this body that has surrendered to you, and based on whatever their boundaries are, but to be able to find their personal buttons, because each person is so unique and different, and to really get that body in a hyper altered state. That is my favorite thing. That's the thing that I've been really focused on that lately.
I get that, because BDSM and changes you in subspace, even dom space. It's just like it's almost like a high. It's like a natural
definitely high. The higher I am after a session, I know that my person that I've been dominating is definitely high too.
Okay. So I am
always want to feel that way
about this, about your partner, who is a mistress, who's retiring. What's the dynamic? I mean, are you a sub to her? Do you dom her?
No,
You just
no.
play with other
She and I
people?
are both DOMs,
Oh, okay.
and we've just both been in this region for quite some time. And my last studio, the whole block belonged to this guy who rented out different units. And because he was growing marijuana illegally or something like that, they all got raided. And of course, when they came into my place, they were like, whoa, okay, what is this? And they were really nice, actually, to me. But I definitely wanted to move. And, it was just a timing thing. And we just decided to partner together and get into a much larger location, and that had multiple rooms and different possibilities, and that's what we did.
Okay. Now we only have a couple sections left, only 3. First
Okay.
one we do all the time is called BDSM on a budget. So BDSM on a budget. Now, I highly recommend, if people have the money, support quality BDSM products. Whether it's whips, corsets, St. Andrew's crosses, all that stuff. Support it. But not everybody has the money to do it, and I'm not just talking about products. So what are some ways that people who don't have that much money can be kinky?
Well, a roll of saran wrap can do amazing things. And that's definitely one of my favorite forms of bondage. But I'm walking around my studio to look for a couple of things that, okay, like these are little weights that came from a hardware store. And these can be clamped, on, we've all seen these,
Oh,
so like that can be a fun thing. I'm just looking around my studio. I have a pizza, those deep dish pizza pan that can be a fun nipple clamp. I'm trying to think of some things, but just there's so many things that are that clothespins, are probably like one of my favorite things to use. I have all these fancy different kinds of not fancy, but the specialized nipple clamps, BDSM nipple clamps, and I end up using the clothespins because they're actually I like them better because you get more of a. Some of them will have springs that are very hard and tight, is going to be really firm, and others have very loose, and so you're going to have variables in the intensity. So, stuff like that I'm really kind of focused on, what it feels like to somebody. But those clamps can be really good. I wonder. And if you go fishing, say somebody's husband or wife or someone, gets into fishing lure, the weights that are used for fishing, you can use those for ball clamps. I mean, there's lots of stuff around your house already that you can pervert. Yeah.
I plan on doing a panel episode just on convertibles. Okay. Oh, speaking of your dungeon, I mean, it seems like it never ends. So this is a 2-part question. What is your most requested kind of use of the dungeon? What the most popular, but what is your personal favorite?
Well, because of the way I go about my interviewing process, it's really like, even if someone requests something, and if anybody requests something that's illegal, they get a speech from me immediately. Like, first of all, we can't talk about that stuff, because it's criminalized. Our speech is criminalized in the United States. And I know that people get very comfortable about, communicating, but these days our industry is under attack. And so, if someone I don't know, I mean, calls me up, I get mad if they ask me, for strap on or, stuff like that, because you're putting the provider in a precarious place. So ultimately, they just need to not do that. But, people will request all sorts of things, but the process that I do, that I engage with people, we build it up together. I just want to know what their boundaries are. Number one, I want to know what their interests are. And then I'm going to take all that information that they gave me, and I'm going to just kind of blow their mind.
All right.
But I like layering things. So my favorite thing is to have someone in bondage where they are completely helpless, encasement bondage using plastic film. And then I open up, sections so that I can access them. And then adding various electro. I have numerous electro machines, so I'll probably have anywhere from 2 to 3 on them, different parts of their body, and then be even using maybe a violet wand on top of that, and then have how many vibrators, I don't know, in different places. And just there's so many sensations going on that their brain, and then that's something I really love, is surfing the energy, the endorphins, and surfing the energy of that body, where I am mixing and using the pain and pleasure dynamic of different sensations to create, the different responses. And I'm actually working on articulating this right now into book form so people can read it. But it's really, that's my favorite thing, is getting people into the deepest altered state that I can. And that's based on really them too, where they're trying to go.
I love how you use the phrase surfing the body's energy. Yeah, that's great. Okay. So all right. So rapid fire recommendations, and they don't have to be kink related at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, speaking of the first recommendation, I'm going to ask you, talking about nailing a penis and balls to a piece of wood. Have you ever seen the movie Mistress?
Yes, I have. I have a copy of that.
Oh yeah.
I've shown it here on movie night at the studio.
That's a great movie. It's a great Yeah, and they really did that in the movie.
Yeah, I know. We gave a little speech about it, like, yes, those were real submissives.
Okay, so
and real doms.
Okay, recommendations. Recommend a movie.
Well, Belle de Jour, but lots of people have seen that. Belle de Jour is really good. If they like really, kind of gross stuff, anything by John Waters, the early like Female Trouble and all that, is kind of trippy. But yeah, Belle de Jour is one of my favorite. Whoop, whoop, there we go. Yeah. That's one of my favorite kinky movies is Belle de Jour.
And like I said, these recommendations, they don't have to be kink related if you don't want them to be. But you're a kinky person, so that's fine.
Yeah, my brain's just not in movies right now. I'm sorry.
Recommend a book.
Oh, gosh. Jeez. Okay, it's called Why Good People. It's a book by a libertarian dude that why good people argue about religion and politics, and I can't remember the exact name of it right now.
No, all right, I want to check that out.
But it's an awesome book, especially for these times, because people really need to help each other. We really need to get on board because we've got more shared values than we have in differences, and we need to be united and love each other.
Yeah, definitely. Recommend a song.
A song? Oh, anything by Jimi Hendrix.
Oh God.
Manic Depression. The Moody Blues. Yeah.
I just found out that Crosby, Stills and Nash, right?
DJ Icy.
Yeah. Crosby, Stills and Nash.
The Ramones. Sorry.
I love the Ramones. I absolutely love the Ramones.
I met Joey Ramone several times. I don't think he remembers when he was alive. I don't think he knew I was standing there.
I've seen them live several times, yeah.
I saw them in Queens. That was awesome.
Oh, but so Crosby, Stills and Nash, Stephen Stills had a guitar solo in some song, and he was like, I forget what song it is, but it was a hit song, and then he took the guitar solo out, and he put like steel drums in it, And that person who played the guitar that they cut was Jimi Hendrix.
Wild. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
My partner probably does because he knows everything about music.
I love the Ramones. You lived in New York City for a while, and you saw a bunch of people and met a bunch of people.
There we go. Yeah, I went there to go to art school after high school from Oklahoma to New York City. Yeah. There we go. I'm showing you the comic strips that are on the slideshow.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty cool. All right.
I used to work the VIP room at the Club El Mundo, and my, job, if you could call it a job, was to make sure that everybody was, had drinks and were happy and having fun, and there'd be people hanging out like Andy Warhol. And in fact, one of my favorite memories from New York was I was dressed so wild and psychedelic, and I purposely went up and posed up against the wall, and Andy Warhol and his entourage were there, and the whole place turned around and looked at me, and I did it on purpose so that Andy would turn around and look at me, and he did, and when he did, I waved at him like, hi. Like, it was just kind of a nutshell of his whole kind of philosophy, our little art moment together.
Yes.
But in New York, you're going to meet, as you're just going to see people everywhere there.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm in New York all the time, and I grew up in the rave scene, so it's like I did the limelight and all that stuff. So I've met a whole bunch of people. Okay, recommend a television show.
Take your television and throw it in the garbage.
Okay.
Take a sledgehammer and smash it.
Okay.
Unplug from the Matrix.
Recommend a meal.
Recommend a what?
A meal.
A meal. Oh, my fish tacos, or my better than sex dessert, which is a meal. When you taste it, you won't want to put it down. But
all right. First of all, I love fish tacos. Second, all right. What's in
my
this
cooking?
What's this better than sex dessert? You got now.
Ooh, it's really good.
It?
It's also called Robert Redford pie, but it's a layer of smashed pecans, butter, and flour that you bake a little bit, and then you put a layer of sweetened cream cheese, and then a layer of chocolate pudding, and then a layer of whipped cream.
Holy shit!
It's really bad. It's really good.
I think pounds just thinking about it. All right, this is before we get to the plug, the final episode, the final part of the show. We're doing the word association game.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to say a word or phrase, and you say the first word or phrase that pops into your head. Okay.
Oh no.
Okay.
Okay.
Rule number one. All right. Rule number one is you literally say the first thing that pops in your head, even if it's nonsense. So if I say
understand.
Chastity, you may say rock, but if I say chastity, you can say fish tacos. There's no wrong answer. Okay.
Okay.
Second thing is we don't kink shame. We don't kink shame. So if I say something that you're not into, please don't make fun of it.
Oh no, I would never do that.
I know you. Yeah, just say not my thing. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Now, also keep in mind that I'm doing this off the top of my head. I don't have anything written down. I'm just, everything from me is going to come off the top of my head, but not everything is going to come from me. See, I have this jar.
Oh.
Tangled Blue, I love you. She's an essential part of the Kinky Friends. And we have a very silly sense of humor. It's very, very weird and absurd. And she gave me this jar, and there's a bunch of little pieces of paper in it. I don't know what I'm pulling out this jar.
Okay.
It could be related. It could be nonsense. Okay. We can get absurd and weird with this. Okay. This is
Okay.
Right. Ready to go?
I'm just trying to get that shine out of my face. It's from my phone, actually, but I'm just trying. Okay, go ahead.
It's great because it's like everywhere you go, there's like a new thing. It's like you're done.
This is some of my art. I painted that painting right there.
Okay, ready to go?
Yes.
All right. Pegging.
Suck.
Fisting.
Suck. No. Maybe just give me a few seconds for my brain to reset.
Splashing.
Fun.
Okay. The St. Andrew's Cross.
Bonk.
Fire play.
Shazam.
That was the name of my dog when I was a kid. Needle play.
Good name.
Yeah, it is a good name.
Did you say another word and I missed it? Or
Yeah. Needle play.
blood?
Okay. Wax play.
Farm.
Okay. Like I said, there's no wrong answer. All right. Straight jackets.
Schmeasel. And I don't know why.
What is a schmeasel?
I think that's a name of a creature in The Hobbit.
Maybe. At first, I thought it was like Rick and Morty, but okay. All right. Face slapping.
Darling.
Choking.
Blood.
Sissification.
Dream.
All right. Saran wrap.
Me.
Dominating couples.
Honor.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I missed that though. Age play.
Dynamic.
Balloons.
Everyone.
Anal
I want to
hook.
get everyone in there.
Maybe they'll be forced to get along. You put a bunch of conservatives and Dems in there, and you just
Yes. See? Oh, I would love that. I think that would be good. That's exactly what needs to happen. Is that
you put the Senate
all these
in the
people
House.
need to be doing something silly, that's not serious, that's frivolous, together, and just realize that everyone's human beings. We really are, and all that other stuff is getting in the way.
Yeah, you put the House and the Senate, you put them all in balloon, and you just spray them with a bunch of Jello and pudding, and then at the end, paint.
I like it.
All right. Dildos.
Passion.
Riding crops.
Riding crop. Sting.
Oh, I forgot to ask you a question. When it comes to impact play, riding crops, floggers, switches, whips, they're all awesome. If you had to choose just one, what would you choose?
Floggers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the jar.
Because floggers can be, stingy and fuzzy, and I have lots of floggers. I used to be a massage therapist before I was a dom, and if I would have known about flogging when I was a massage therapist, I would have been flogging my massage clients.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because it's excellent percussion.
The daddy baby girl dynamic.
Are you asking me what I think?
Yeah, well, we're still in the word association game.
Boring for me.
Right. Pet play.
Bark. Cage. I'm thinking about my cage.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to the jar.
Okay.
Finger.
Ooh, deep.
All right. Vulva sauce.
Ooh, vulvalicious.
That's a good one. All right.
I've always wanted to have that word made in neon. Vulvalicious. So I could put that on my wall.
Like with curves? Like
Yes, beautiful, like stylized font. Yes.
Okay.
Vulva. Dick pic. Forever. I don't know why.
All right.
Kitten. My friend.
All right. Did we say splashing?
Booger. I don't know why that came into my brain. Booger.
Okay, we can do that. Piss play.
Piss play, not my thing.
Finally, you reach the end. Scat.
Not my thing.
Oh my
But
god.
you know, no judgments, just not my thing.
Oh my god. Domina, Elle, it's been a true honor for this. I had an amazing time. I've been getting messages while I was interviewing you that they love this.
Cool.
It's been one
Right
of
on.
my favorite interviews. It's been so fun. Please stay on the line after we're done. I won't take up much of your time because one of the main rules is don't waste the dominatrix's time.
That's a very good rule.
Yeah. So, okay, take this time, even though all your pics and all your links and your bio are all on the Kinky Friends page. Please take this time. Any social media, your personal, professional link, your, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, events that you may be going to, your dungeon, Colorado, who you're voting for in prime. Go.
Well, there's milehighdungeon.com, denverdominatrix.com, dominaelle.com, and balloonmistress.com. I'm sorry, what?
Well, first I said that's ELLE.
Yes, Elle,
Yeah.
like the magazine.
Yeah. And what was the last?
I'm sorry, I was
What
talking.
was the last thing you wanted to talk?
The last one?
Yeah, I talked over you by accident.
Both of us were talking. Mile High Dungeon, Domina Elle, denverdominatrix.com, and also, the erotic service provider legal education and research project is a sex worker-led organization based in the Bay Area, but I am a board member, and there are, we're in a big fight right now to change the laws, and just please support sex workers, support erotic laborers, not just by getting sessions, but also by donating to different organizations and showing up, and just we've got to change these laws. We've got to change them, and they're going to do. When that law is changed, it's going to make a huge difference for everybody, not just erotic laborers, but on behalf of sexual freedom for everyone. Because when we are free sexually, then that's just going to be a huge plus for sexual freedom for everybody.
Definitely, we got to end. We got to end people being deplatformed just for sexually expressing themselves.
Yeah, all that, or arrested, or raped by police officers in order to arrest them, which is very, very common. And it's just time. It's time to change. It is. We got to get real.
Get on board, people. Seriously, we're doing this for a reason. We're trying to help. We're trying to help.
Well, all the people that are providing erotic services, they're taking risks in one way or another, because of people judging, and not understanding. It's a process. That's what's happening. I see the human species is wrestling with the sexual part of the human condition puzzle. And that's something that, a lot of erotic laborers, it's already been acknowledged that, we're kind of at in the front trenches of that conversation. And we have a lot to offer the world regarding that. I mean, look what we do. We a lot of us are helping people to figure out who they are. Yeah. That's a kind of a big deal. That's a very important service.
And once I embraced my sexuality and like my kinkiness and my fetishes and opened my mind to everything and it was like, fuck it, I'm proud to be kinky. You know what I mean? And I'm so kinky, I started doing a show interviewing people about kinky. I feel like I'm a better person. I feel I'm like a kinder person. I'm more
happier.
Happier. Exactly. Okay. So please, Domina Elle, please stay on the line. I won't waste your time. I just want to talk to you for a minute or two. But please, everyone, follow yourkinkyfriends.com. Support sex work. Support professional dominatrixes. It's okay to give them money. But don't waste their time. And and be respectful. God, just be respectful. You can find me on yourkinkyfriends.com. I'm on Twitter at Nicholas Tanek. Your Kinky Friends is at FriendsKinky. I'm on Instagram at Nick Tanek and on Instagram at FriendsKinky. Check out Jet's Arcade with 2 T's. She's amazing. She created this amazing group of people on Facebook, amazing community, people who are just really cool. And then check out the other interviews. We got some big things in the works. And on top of that, we have a YKF, Your Kinky Friends, group on Facebook. We have a Discord chat group, which you can get to from Your Kinky Friends. And also we have a Patreon page, patreon.com/YKF. We're going to have exclusive content. We're going to have more sex toy reviews and everything like that, which is going to be
I might
great.
be interested in doing some
Oh, we got to talk about
content.
we got to talk about that. We'll talk about that. It's getting late. My Dom is calling me.
Yes, I have a session coming in soon.
Okay. Remember the cardinal rule. Be cool, be kind, and keep an open mind. Have a great night.